Hello?
Hello, Archie.
Hello, that's all. How are you?
Hello, I'm fine. How are you?
Very good, thank you.
Very good. I don't want to hold you up forever. I just wondered if you got the photographs that I sent.
Yes, I got them, yeah.
Did you recognise anybody there at all? Or?
Yes, I knew letby of N1.
Have you got the picture in front of you, Archie?
Letby is at the back, on the left.
No, he's number one. I've put a number one by him. Is that him?
Number one?
Excellent.
I don't know who number two is. I haven't seen him before.
Okay. Number three is Freddie Underwood.
Freddie Underwood.
Yep.
Number four is Granger.
Excellent.
Number five is Turton.
Number five is...
Number six is Turton.
Yes. Number five is my dad.
That's right, that's right.
Does that face ring any bells, you know? My dad...
I can just... I resemble it, you know. I can, see him now, you know.
All right. And what about number seven? Do you know? Any idea?
I have no idea.
Okay. That's good. That's given me two names I didn't know. And Letby, I think, he occurs in some of Ray Bromley's accounts in a couple of those books. You know the other picture, Archie? You know the guy with the megaphone?
Yes.
Do you know who that is? No. It's N3, you see. This is the trouble. This is N3 in Sicily. No,
see, now I got it, yeah. The one, to me, the fella at the side of the officer,
yeah.
To me, he is from N2, if I look there. It looks as if it's, what's his name, Jones, from Manchester.
Okay.
But the officer, I can't make out.
All right. Because the only reason I say it's N3 is because there's a bit of film which this comes from, and they raise up a flag with Rnbc N3 written on it.
Yes.
Yeah, but I mean, are you pretty confident about that? This is Jones from Manchester.
It looks, well, to me it looks like him.
Yeah.
I've been trying to fathom boys out, you know.
Yeah.
And to me it looks like Blondy Jones.
Blondy Jones, you call it?
Blondy, we used to call him.
Pocock. Excellent.
Officer, I can't make out him. I've been looking at him all the time, you know. I can't make him out who he is.
Well, I was trying to work out if he's one of the guys, maybe if he was Granger.
No, the officer, that is.
Sure, but I mean, if you look at the picture with, you know, the picture with Tom Turton and the six other guys, yeah, with my dad and Freddie Underwood and Letby and Granger there. Now some of them have got, it's the hats I don't understand, Archie, because some of them have got the sort of dark hats, yeah, and some of the petty officers. I mean, I know my dad was a petty officer. He's got like a dark hat, but some of them have got the hat with a white top.
Yes.
Now, does that mean that's a commissioned officer, or am I wrong about that? Or that's a
they are the officers.
They are the officers. So
the white top.
So
I'm trying to work him out. I can't make who he is.
No. Okay. Presumably he must be. I'm sure he's N3, and he must be one of the. Because you wouldn't have known him that well anyway, would you?
No.
Really, you would have been a little way down that same beach.
I would have been further down the beach. You see.
Sort of further to their left, I think you were telling me.
Further. Well, we were centre.
You were between N1 and N3.
We were between N1 and N3.
Yeah, because like I say, I managed to find a bit of old film that seems to be the beach that N3 were on there.
Oh yeah.
And that's what this is from. You know the guy with the megaphone there. Yeah. It's from that film. It's just a still from the film. Yeah.
See, I got it.
So I mean. What I'll have to try and do is obviously if I can find the original film at the War Museum.
I got you.
Do you know what I mean? Because I've got a lousy copy of it from the internet. Yeah. But to see a good copy, I'd have to. I think the War Museum would probably have it.
Yes. But to me, the fella himself, to me, is Blondy Jones.
Okay. Could you, how confident? Would you say 90% confident or something about that? Would you be, or pretty confident?
I'm pretty confident.
Okay.
I mean, it's come back a long way now.
I know. The other thing was, talking. You know, you said that you were injured, weren't you, in Reggio?
Yeah, Gallico.
Gallico Marina. That's
it's not far from Reggio.
No, sure. And that was the other side of the crossing. That was where you were. That's where you were. That's where you were working. Yeah. And were you working in that same place for a while, just exactly where you landed, or do you know what I mean? Was that just a day there, or what? Was it?
Say it again.
You know the place you landed, Gallico Marina, yeah?
Yes, on the beach.
This is on the beach. Now, were you on that beach for a while, you know, like
yes.
days?
The time we landed, the early hours of the morning.
Yeah.
Well, I had it then at about 5 o'clock in the evening.
Yeah.
When the dive bombers came over, you know.
Sure.
And, of course, I had the Messiah, and that was my lot. Then they took me back to Sicily.
Yeah. Was that Stukas, or what was that? Do you know the plane? What, you know?
I'm not sure if they were Messerschmitts or Stukas. What they were dropping, anti-personnel bombs.
Yeah. Doesn't sound very nice.
So, with anti-personnel, you know, soon they touch the surface.
Yeah.
Away they go, you know.
Yeah.
And they blow their arms off, kill you, and God knows what. They do a lot of damage.
Yeah, I can imagine. And you got some shrapnel in the leg.
No.
I think, yeah. Because I was talking to Leader Kipling.
Oh, yes.
About some of this stuff, and she remembers that, obviously, was it K Commando? There was some of those guys from K Commando replaced some of you guys from N Commando for the Anzio landings. Was it K?
No, not K.
She said,
D for dog.
D for dog. Ah, okay.
No, they were in Egypt in HMS Saunders at the time.
Yeah, in Kabrit.
No,
yes.
I told you before, there were 6 of us.
Yeah.
In the Gerry in North Africa.
Yeah.
In a transit camp, and we had a signal to rejoin N Commando east of Suez.
Yeah.
Right. Well, time we got there, there was a petty officer in charge of us, and I had Jenny meet him, and when we go to the reunion, Jerry Pocock.
Yeah.
He lives in Reading.
Was he?
Jerry was a petty officer with letby.
Was he? I mean, he's not in that picture with Turton, is he?
He was with Jerry. I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
He was in North Africa with me.
Yeah. But he was he in 2, Archie, Pocock?
No, 1.
In 1? Because you see... Okay, because Ken Barry's given me a list of who was in which, you know, N1, N2, N3.
And N1 was letby and Jerry Pocock.
Yeah, because he's got Pocock in it.
Freddie Underwood and Granger.
Yeah, right.
Your father, and I don't know who the other one was, in N3.
Excellent. So, I mean, Ken Barry has got a lot of these things wrong then on this...
Oh, yes, he got me wrong when I went to... India, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. 2 things wrong, Ken have.
Okay, it's hard to tell him sometimes. But okay, so it was D Commando. Some guys from D Commando took over.
Like 6. It was 6. There was 2 of N1.
Yeah.
It was Lynn Morgan from Wales.
Yeah.
It was Fella Matthews from Rochdale and Jerry Pocock. They were from the petty officer from N1.
Yeah.
Now it was Blondy Jones, Joe Hadfield, myself, and Jock Stanton from Paisley out of N2.
Yeah.
Then we took passage on a wagon down from Jelly down to Buji.
Yeah.
There we boarded the open track train, you know.
Yeah.
That took us then through to Algiers.
Yep.
Then we had food there, you know, food. We boarded there. Afterwards, we boarded the HMS Hyderabad, the corvette.
Yes.
And that took us down to Alexandria.
As a corvette is a pretty small ship, isn't it?
Yes. Well, it was taking a convoy through at the time, you see.
Yeah.
And of course, we took passage on it.
Yes.
Then we got down to Alex.
Yeah.
And from Alex, and transport then down to east of Suez, to HMS Saunders.
Yes.
And of course, when we got to Saunders, N Commando had left.
Yes.
They had gone up, sailed up to, on the way to Anzio.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the 6 of us then, not Jerry Pocock, the 6 of us were put in then to D Commando.
Sure.
Because 6 went out at D to N.
Yeah.
So we took their place in D.
So there was a swap.
That was a swap.
Yes. Okay. Were all you guys, were you out? I mean, I know that you were out, Archie, because you were injured. The other guys, were they injured as well, or they got malaria, or what was it? You know, like Pocock?
Oh, I don't know. I have no idea.
Okay.
I never asked. I was surprised, you know.
Yeah.
There was 2 camps in the Gerry. There was one out in the village,
yeah,
and one in the barracks. You see, I was in the barracks.
Yeah.
And they came in one day. Good God, I had a shock.
Yeah.
Because next thing it was on Christmas, New Year's Eve, when we travelled on this open train, you know, 1943.
Yes.
1943, New Year's Eve, when we travelled on that train, and from Reggio to Algiers.
Yeah. It is to Algiers town. Algiers, yeah, I'm with you.
So that?
Is that a long way? How far is that?
Oh, it was a good run.
Yeah.
Oh, we travelled overnight. I mean, it was a stop and go open train, you know, nobody else on it, only us. Open track, you know.
Wait, what, just 6 of you?
6 of us.
Yeah, on the whole train?
On the train.
Okay. First class.
Very good. Stand all the way in.
Yeah, right.
Sitting in the wagons, you know.
Yeah, but there would have been a hostess trolley and everything, wouldn't there? Okay, so you got to Algiers. Yeah, and then it was the Corvette that took you from Algiers to Alexandria.
HMS Hyderabad, yes. Took us to Alexandria.
Yeah.
And we had a train in from Alex down so far. I can't remember where they took us to. Then we had a lorry then, picked us up and took us into the camp, you know.
Yeah, and the camp was in Kabrit, isn't it called? HMS Saunders.
It's at the side of the Suez Canal.
Yeah. Is that you sort of go, is that as far, did you see the pyramids and all this stuff on your, is that sort of near it? You know the pyramids in Egypt. Is that?
Oh, no.
You don't go near them?
I go down. I travel from Port Side.
Yeah.
You go down through the canal.
Yeah.
You go past Port pass the bit of Salt Lakes on the left.
Yes.
And you carry on, and it's the camp is a slight turn in the canal.
Yeah.
And on your right, on the flat, you can see the Saunders, you know, where we were.
And that was just a colour. I've seen a photograph in the book by Hampshire.
Yeah.
Do you know that there's a photograph in there of a few guys. One of them is Letby, I think, in the car.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm just going to have a look here. This is, Hampshire. Cecil Hampshire. He wrote a book about all this stuff. Yeah. And there's a photograph. I'm just trying to find it. Hang on, just bear with me a second, Archie. I'll see if I can find it. Hang on. It's here somewhere. It's at Kabrit, and there's 3 of them sitting in a car. It's kind of like a racing car. And they stole it, according to Ray Bromley. From the nearest town. I think it was Letby. Here we go. This is, Sibley. Perry Lightfoot from N1. Kabrit, Suez Canal. You can see it is Jack Sibley sitting at the wheel of this racing. It looks like an old Bentley or something. And there's tents in the background.
Sam was my mate.
Well, Sam is, I've got Jack Sibley. Albert Perry is sitting in the passenger seat.
Albert Perry from London, the Cockney, wasn't he? He went to America, and he opened a pub in America.
Really? Whereabouts, do you know?
He died. He died a few years ago.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Because his mate is living down in Sandbourne, in Bournemouth.
Oh, really? Was he, his mate, is just he wouldn't have been
Peter Lightfoot.
Oh, yeah, I mean, is he still alive?
Yes, he's living in Sandbourne.
And you're sure of that, Archie? He's still alive now?
Yes, he's still alive, yeah.
He looks very young in this photograph here.
Yes, he's still alive.
You don't have a phone number for him, do you, Archie, or an address?
I don't know. I'll have a look. Hang on. I don't know. I don't think I have. I used to have it.
Sure.
Peter Sino. L-T-D G-H Translation. that bridge. No, I haven't.
No?
No.
Maybe...
He lives down in Seabourne.
Yeah.
I wonder who could give you his address.
Maybe Ken Barry, if Ken Barry can't.
Ken Barry would know it.
Yeah, okay. Because...
You'd like to have Peter... Oh, Peter's still alive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And he was in N1, see?
Yeah, because Ray Bromley knew these guys because he was in N1 too.
Ray was with them, is he?
Yeah, right. I mean, it was him who told me that I couldn't work out why there was a sort of a British sort of racing car, you know, a little two-seater in Kabrit, of all places. Why is there, you know, a racing car? And he said that, I think he said that Sibley, he went into the nearest town, wherever it was, I can't remember the name of it, you know, the nearest reasonably sizable town, and he just saw this car. It was bright red. Yeah. And I think he just liked the look of it, and he borrowed it and drove it back to Kabrit, you know, and he's just driving it round the camp there, looking very pleased with himself.
Yeah, I tell you what, they were a hell of a set of boys.
Okay.
I mean, you had good times and you had bad times.
Yeah.
But we saw some damn good laughs, you know.
Yeah. Well, I've heard some stories from Ray about, you know, there was an American general called
Did he tell you about Letby, what they done to Letby one day? In the toilet? They had open air toilets, you know, made their own toilets. And
was that Letby who fell in the ship?
The boys to pour, about 5 of them sitting back on the sea bank, on the sand dunes.
Yeah.
I asked him, no, go pour this down the petty officer's toilet.
Yeah.
Of course, next one down, passing was Letby.
Yeah.
Of course, he was a smoker, and when he threw a cigarette down, shut it, come in it. It was shouting at him, walk into the sea, walk into the sea.
Well, with his arse on fire. Okay. I'm glad. I'm glad you didn't do that to my dad. I would, yeah, that's in the book actually, isn't it? I'm sure Ray Bromley mentions that in one of the books. And there's another incident where I think it's Peter Lightfoot is doing the cooking. And he's got a little trench for the slops, and along comes the Messerschmitt or a Stuka, I don't know what it was, and he just dived for the nearest trench, and he ended up in the slops trench, you know. And I said he stank to high heaven for X amount of time. He told me another story that they pushed Mark Clark's car in the canal. They borrowed Mark Clark, you know Mark Clark, the American general.
Yes, I know all about that.
Well, you can probably tell me more.
I know all about it.
Yeah. You weren't there at the time.
No, I wasn't with them, I see.
That
was up in Anzio.
Oh, that was up in, yeah. Because apparently my dad was involved in that, so it's very strange for me to hear these stories of what, my dad was up to 60 years ago, you know.
At the D, we arrived back. We went up to do the D commando, went up to do the job on Marseille and Toulouse, you know.
Yeah, in the south of France.
With the Yanks, but we had a signal back. We wasn't wanted. We laid off. We wasn't wanted. They done it themselves.
Yeah, and how did they do?
Went then and we sailed and we went into Corsica.
Yeah.
And we was up in the mountains. We enjoyed it. We was up in the mountains with my canvas up there for a while.
Yeah.
Of course, when we got back home then, we arrived back at Troon, Liverpool.
Yeah.
And we went then to Westcliff.
On sea? On the south coast?
South end on sea, you know.
Yeah.
And went on leave, and when we went back, then went back to Troon in Scotland.
Yeah.
HMS, I forget the name now. Anyway, my mate and I, we were drafted then out to India to make K commando up, you know.
Yeah.
That was for the invasion of Japan.
Yeah.
Of course, when we was going out then on the troop ship.
Yes.
It came over the Tannoy on that they had dropped the atom bomb.
Yeah, which was good news for you,
It was good news for us.
Yes.
Good news for us, because we arrived in Bombay then.
Yeah.
And the funny thing, when we arrived in Bombay on the jetty, you know, the majority of the troops on the ship were Gurkhas.
Yeah.
And I got chatting with them, you know, and they were telling me to go from Bombay now to Natal, innit? Or Nepal, wherever they are. It would take another 3 weeks.
Yeah.
From Bombay to get up in the mountains, you know.
Yeah.
Another 3 weeks. It'd be as long as what it took them to go from Britain to Bombay as it would from Bombay to their home.
Yeah. Oh, I see. That was it. They were heading home. Oh, Nepal. Where did they come from, Gurkhas? From up in the
up in the mountains.
Up in the yeah. Up at the what do they call those mountains?
Nice. But anyway, when we got to the jetty, they put the plank out, you know.
Yeah.
And the band was playing there, and it was officer went off first. Then there was sent one of the Gurkhas. Then there was an Indian trooper. Then there was Gurkha, and we found out after, and because we didn't hear anything on the ship, that these Indians had gone over to fight for Gerry.
You kidding?
Yeah. They'd gone over with Gerry, see?
I mean, what, in India, you mean?
They took them from this country back to India.
Oh, I see. You mean they were sort of prisoners?
They had gone over with Gerry, see?
Oh, they were prisoners?
They were fighting with Gerry.
You mean?
When they got back to us, and they'd be shot, wouldn't they, when they get back, see?
Yeah. Oh, cool. Yeah.
Oh, that was a sight to see them walking off there, about half a dozen of them.
Yeah. Not looking happy then, is that?
Oh, no. But they didn't hear a thing about it, you see?
No. Well, there's, you know, a lot of things, like with the a lot of the people had a lot to lose, didn't they? You know, like their families were in, you know, like in Yugoslavia and places, that their families were sort of almost hostage, so that they had to fight. Do you know what I mean, with the Germans, or your family gets, you know, gets the...
I got it in front of me when we was in HMS FOLIOT down in Devon.
Yeah.
That was before we went up to achnacarry.
Now, FOLIOT, was that in Bickleigh?
That was in Bickleigh.
Is that Bickleigh in the middle of Devon? Very, very picturesque place in the middle of Devon with like a stream and a old mill by the stream.
HMS FOLIOT 3 it was.
And that, Archie, that was that Bickleigh, very nice little place in the middle of Devon, because I know it well. I mean, I was at university in Exeter, and so a friend of mine used to work at Bickleigh. So I didn't realise, so HMS FOLIOT was at that Bickleigh?
Bickleigh, yes.
Oh, crikey. Okay.
Now, when we went up to achnacarry, I got all the dates here now, at times. We left on March 30th.
Okay.
At 07:31 in the morning. We arrived at Paddington Station at 1400 hours.
That's a 7-hour trip then, isn't it?
That's to Paddington Station.
Yeah.
We arrived at King's Cross Station at 1900 hours.
Okay.
0600 hours, we arrived at Glasgow Central.
Okay.
10:48 then, the 31st, we arrived at Spin Bridge and arrived at achnacarry.
Now, had you been to, what is that place called? Armadillo. You know, what do they call it?
HMS Armadillo.
Armadillo before you were in achnacarry, yeah?
Oh, yes, we was in Armadillo.
So you was Armadillo.
All in front of me now. I got the sheet now from, we were formed in 1943. Right? Yeah. On the 12th of February.
Yeah.
HMS Armadillo.
That's right. And then
we have got on dates, and on the 16th M2 embarked on the HMS Pretoria.
Oh, yeah, okay.
On the 20th we disembarked from the Pretoria to do exercises, see?
Yes.
And then we went back to Armadillo. We went all back on leave.
Now, what was the... Armadillo is a strange thing to me. I mean, I know that the commando training was achnacarry, right? The real...
Achnacarry.
Was achnacarry.
The training in Armadillo as well.
But the Armadillo stuff, this was sort of landing craft practice,
no,
you know...
we didn't have any landing craft at Armadillo.
No? Oh, okay, because...
we used to do exercises, beach exercises, you know, no, we didn't have any landing craft at Armadillo.
Okay, and what was the difference then? Okay, put it this way, the big difference in your mind between
the thing was,
the one and the other was...
Ship had all that we used to do all the landings of a troop ship with landing craft.
Yeah.
That was taken in Troon. That was the places where all the landings were done.
Yeah.
Troon.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You see, but there was no landing craft in Armadillo.
Oh, so, okay. And the landing craft were kind of hooked up on the side of the...
on the davits, yes. On the side of the ship, you see.
And when it came to the landing, what would you do? You'd lower the landing craft down.
The landing craft, and you
climb down the nets.
Over the side of the ship.
Yeah, yeah. And the landings, you would actually go in. It would be pitch black, dark when you went in.
Break of dawn, you know. It was dark and we should go at dawn, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Because again, I found some film. Most of the film I've looked for was film from Anzio, but there is film of the other landings. You know, the Sicily landings. Yeah. I've got a little bit of film of that, and you've seen the guy with the megaphone. And there's also film of the what do you call it, Messina to Reggio.
Yes.
There's film of that as well, which I'm going to have to get hold of. But the trouble is that you guys started your job so early that there wasn't enough light for the cameras. Do you know what I mean? So that the cameras, you get a few shots very early in the morning, but it's almost so dark you can't see anything. Do you see what I mean? It's a few silhouettes against the rising sun, as it were. So it's a bit hard to spot some of you guys because it was so dark, and obviously they couldn't use floodlights to light you all up. Do you know what I mean? Because it would have made things a bit obvious.
I got it by now. On the 28th, we done exercises off the Isle of Arran on the 22nd of June 1943. On the 28th, we sailed from the Clyde. Then one sailed under the Lieutenant Commander Russell on the HMS Glengyle.
That would be N1, would it?
Yes, N2 under Reggio. We sailed on the Mannix, Vincent, on the Mannix troop ship.
That's you and Sid Kipling and Reggio.
And N3 and the Turton.
The Derbyshire.
On the Derbyshire.
Yeah, I got something. Okay. And the route that you took, Archie, was you didn't have to go all the bloody way around Africa, did you? Presumably you sailed...
We went through the Med.
You went through the Med, which was...
It was a bloody big convoy.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Is that why they felt capable of doing it? Because I know a lot of convoys would go all the way around Africa rather than go through the western...
We went through... through
Gibraltar.
Gib.
Yeah. Because by that time, North Africa was kind of what you say in Allied hands, wasn't it?
That's right.
So that
I've never seen so many ships in my life.
Well, I mean, I've seen a fair bit of film of it, and I've seen film of the convoys going across to Sicily, and film of looking out from the beaches in Sicily to the ships out at sea. And I mean, I can send you some photos if you like from the. Would you like to see that?
I haven't seen them at all.
Well, I mean, have you don't have a computer, do you, Archie?
I haven't.
Do you have a DVD player for the TV?
Yes.
I mean, what I can do is I think I can put some of this stuff onto DVDs.
Yeah.
If I can find stuff, I can do that, and then you can watch it on the DVD player.
Oh, good.
There's old newsreels and stuff, but some of the film has no sound. Do you know what I mean? Because
yes, I know.
It's what they made the newsreels from. You know what I mean? Because the cameramen didn't have sound, they didn't record sound, and they would take some film and then they'd take it back to London, and they would dub the sound on. They would put fake explosion noises on, and put the music on and the commentaries on. But I'll see what I can find that relates to the landings that you did. Yeah, which would be Sicily and Reggio.
And Reggio.
And any photographs I can find, if you'd like to see them.
The best sight I ever seen, though, was the day before we went across to, it was on the 2nd of September.
Yeah.
Midday. I don't know if I told you last time, there was the warspite, the battleship, Lord Robertson on it, and I think it was the Repulse.
Yeah. 3
battleships. And I think it was just planted on the water. There wasn't a ripple.
Yeah.
And about midday, they swung their guns, 15-inch guns across to Italy. And they give the bloody pound in.
This is Sicily?
No, this is going across...
Reggio.
To Reggio.
I got you. So there was a big... Because apparently you went... That was...
Oh, but in the night, the whole night, it was a terrific barrage and from Messina straight across.
Yes.
He said it would be well
bigger than
one in Alamein.
Yeah. So and you were underneath that.
Yeah, I mean, that went at midnight.
Okay, so that's
at midnight, and we
but there was still,
I should think about 4 o'clock in the morning.
But there was still shelling apparently. When I read somewhere when you went in, there were traces that you were meant to be following. Somebody Redshaw in his thing that he wrote, he said there were traces sort of through the sky which is meant to be guiding you in the right direction.
Oh yes,
I think. Yes. But then he said, well, you couldn't see him because there was so much smoke in the air.
That's it.
You know, that you couldn't see. It didn't really help. You know, but that was pretty noisy, I imagine. Because they don't build ships with. Well, I mean, the British Navy doesn't have any ships, you know, with I don't know how big the guns are, 18-inch guns or whatever.
15-inch guns are big ships.
All right, but
the cruisers are about 9-inch.
Yeah. Because I mean, it's a very glorious sight to see. I mean, I've got some old film of what is it? The warspite is one of them, and a couple of others, sort of sailing in line.
Oh,
do you know what I mean? And they're sort of turning together. It's an amazing sight, because I remember growing up in Gosport when I was a little kid, and we used to go out because my dad was in the Navy and stuff. We used to go to the Navy days there, and to see Portsmouth Harbour full of aircraft carriers, battleships, God knows how many acres, miles of ships.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It struck me. I was only a little kid, and it just wow, you know. But I think the Navy's a bit smaller now. Archie, we don't. You know what I mean? The Americans have got a few big numbers, but do you know what I mean? We don't have that Britannia rules the waves thing anymore.
No.
Well, never mind. You know. Never mind. Hey, Archie, it's been lovely talking to you.
Yes.
Yeah, I've got some information.
Do you want these photos back, sir?
No, I'm afraid, because I copied them. So you hang on to those.
Oh, thank you.
Anything else I can find that I think might be of any interest to you, I've got your address and I'll send it along. Yeah? Are you okay? I mean, if any other thing starts to bother me that I think you might be able to help me sort out, would that be okay if I give you a ring again?
Certainly, anytime.
Excellent.
I've been busy at my son's, you know.
Yeah.
I've been down there decorating.
Oh, yeah, well, wallpapering.
Pardon?
Wallpapering?
No.
Painting?
Well, up in the landing Seaton, that was 20 foot square.
Oh.
Then the staircase goes up in the centre. It's a big house, goes up in the centre of the room, you know.
Yeah.
Into the staircase. Then it's overlooking the balcony is overlooking the dining room.
Yeah. Okay. So this.
Of course, I had to have a ladder. I had to go up 14 foot then to do the one big wall, you know.
And you're still okay on the scaffolding and stuff?
Oh,
yeah?
Like a 46-year-old.
All right. Well, Archie, it's the training. It's the training. It never leaves you.
That's it. The training.
All right, mate. Okay. Oh, Archie, it's great talking to you. I'll talk to you again. If anything else bothers me, I'll be the first to give you a ring, yeah? And we'll
have you been in touch with any of the boys lately, Pa?
Well, I spoke to a few weeks ago quite a lot, but then he's doing the chemotherapy. Yeah.
Oh, right.
So yeah, Ray Bromley. Yes. So
I haven't heard from him for a fortnight. The wife Jenny phones and all.
Anne. Yeah.
Anne, but we haven't heard from Anne for a fortnight now.
Oh no, there's still. I mean, I spoke to her 2 days ago, and I spoke to Ray just briefly, because it's not a good time. I think in about a week, it's a good time for Ray. You know, for his treatment. He goes in the hospital, he has the drip, you know, the chemo drip, and I think for a couple of weeks after that, he's not too good.
Oh, he's not too good.
And then I think about the third week, he's feeling a bit better. And then at the end of the third week, I think he has to go back and have it again, the drip. So, well, it is. I've heard him talking.
Smart fella, see?
Yeah.
Oh, he used to be so, you know, everything so with him. Oh, yeah. He was a machine gunner.
Yeah.
In N1.
Yes.
I knew them all in N1, see, but as I say, I knew about 2 or 3 in N3, you know.
Yeah.
But I could name them all. I could name all N2 off now, and I could name all the boys in D party, you know.
Yes, yeah. Oh, there's one guy, I mean, I tried to talk to again, who is Pat O'Donnell.
Oh, Pat.
Yeah, it's.
He's down in Reading now, isn't Pat?
No, he's in Chatham, in the sort of naval home in Gillingham, near Chatham. And I spoke to him a few weeks ago, and he was sounding very sad, and he didn't want to talk, and he couldn't remember anything. And I spoke to him about 2 days ago, and he still can't remember anything really. But he sounded he was a bit more cheerful.
Was he?
Yeah, he cracked a joke. You know, he was coming to the phone, and you could hear him saying to the girl, because he's going, "Oh, the mystery caller," you know, about me. "It's the mystery caller strikes again," or something like that. It was like, you know, so he had a bit of a sense of humour, and he was more cheerful. So maybe I mean, he says they do trips and stuff, but he's had a bit of trouble with his leg, I think.
I had a call from one of the boys on Saturday.
Yes.
He was in O. Then he was in O. Alf Fairs. Have you heard of him?
Who did say it?
Alf Fairs.
No. No, I don't. I mean, because the reason I was asking about the which guys it was who replaced you guys in N Commando was so that I can maybe nose around amongst D Commando, and see if I can find any of those guys who ended up in N Commando. Just. Do you know what I mean? It's another slight possibility that maybe Ken Barry can put me onto somebody who was in D Commando. Yeah. I don't know if you know offhand if any of those guys who sort of transferred to N Commando who replaced you, if any of those guys. I
know one who replaced me. He was from Swansea.
Yeah.
Of course, his wife was a big friend of ours now. Nora Hughes.
But that is David Hughes.
Then was David Hughes.
Yeah, but he's dead, isn't he? Yeah. This is, I mean, really, Archie, I've got all I can expect to get, really, do you know what I mean, in terms of information. Given that, like 3 months ago, I didn't really know anything, and now I've got 2 books worth of details about the naval commandos in general. I've been talking to Ray Bromley, I've been talking to you, I've been talking, Ken Barry's been very helpful, Lady Kipling's been very helpful, she's given me the photograph, that photograph of Tom Turton with the officers and the petty officers that I sent you. She gave me that, which is, my dad is in it, and I've never seen that picture before in my life, So, and I've got, my dad occurs just for fractions of a second in a few of these old newsreels and bits of film. So I've filled in, I know all about, well, not all about, but I know about achnacarry, and the general.
I thought of myself and Terry Stanton. I went to taking in Saunders,
Have you?
It's a small photo. I'll tell you what, I'll send it on. I got 2 of them, but I'll send you one on.
Well, if you, actually, if you want me, what I can do, if you send it to me, I can copy it, and I can send it straight back to you.
Okay, then.
Should we do that?
Fair enough.
And then, you can keep...
No, I got another one on our last reunion.
Yeah.
On our last reunion, we had a dinner, up in Birmingham.
Yes.
And, what's her name? Royalty man, what's her name?
Not Mountbatten, Lady Mountbatten.
Mountbatten.
Lady Mountbatten?
Yes. I had a photograph with her. I asked her, I went on tour,
Yes.
And I said, excuse me, Mountbatten. I said, I wonder could I have a photograph with you?
Yes.
Certainly, she said, sit by her.
Because her husband was dead by this time. He was blown up, wasn't he?
No, it's not her husband, it's the daughter.
Oh, the daughter, yeah, okay. So her father was the one. He was blown up by the IRA, wasn't he?
He was blown up, see?
Yeah.
She's very nice.
Yes.
She came along, and put it in there.
Well, that's
he made the commando, see?
Yeah, sure.
The leader of them, he made them, see? So, I had Ray took the photograph of me, me and Mountbatten.
This is Ray Bromley. His name keeps coming up. I mean, I don't know if there's any way you can get a copy of that. I mean, I'd like to see it if you can, any photographs. Archie, what I will do, I will copy them immediately and I will send them back by secure delivery.
I'll send you a few of the. I got what's her name? The petty officer I told you about?
Oh, letby?
No.
Hang on a sec.
Gerry Pocock.
Oh, yes.
Gerry Pocock.
Is this a reunion?
Myself, Ray.
Yes.
Taking up the last reunion.
But you'll have to give me names. You'll have to identify.
Send them on, and you send them back.
But I'll send them straight back. You can ask Ray and Anne. Is that they sent me a few photographs, and I sent them back the next day by. You know what I mean? It's kind of secure, safe post. But what you must do, Archie, is if you do send anything, is make sure you identify who's who. Yeah? Otherwise,
I put the names down.
Yeah, excellent. Excellent.
That right then?
Well, that's lovely. It's a real pleasure talking to you, Archie. I appreciate it very much.
Yes, so
yes.
I'll get the photos off now this week sometime.
You've got my address, haven't you? It's on the letter that I sent. Excellent.
Okay, pal.
Beautiful. Brilliant. Thanks, Archie. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.